Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. This is Leanne Zackler over at the South Australian Tourism Commission, and we're really excited to welcome an update from Tony Sharley from Murray River Walk today, who is based in South Australia. How's it going over there, Tony?
Really good, thank you. Good morning from Australia.
It's quite early over there, and so we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. But before we start, I just want to remind everyone about how this will work. Tony will take everybody through his entire presentation, and if you have any questions or any feedback, go ahead and enter it into the question box, into the chat box, and we will get to it at the end. We'd love to hear from you. And for those of you that have colleagues that couldn't make it today, or if you have to hop off a little bit early, don't worry. We are recording this session, so we'll have it posted on our YouTube page once it's finished, and you just reach out to me and I'm happy to share that link with you. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it off to Tony for his update. Thanks, Tony.
Oh, thank you, everybody, and thank you, Leanne. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. So Murray River Walk, I'm very proud to say, is a new multi-day walk on the Murray River in South Australia. It's a new product that we've started operating just this walking season, or this year, but we're also the newest member of the Great Walks of Australia group, which is a wonderful collective of outstanding walks in different parts of Australia, and some of you may be familiar with some of those walks. So we're a small team at this stage in our development. I'm Managing Director. I have had a lifelong experience working on rivers in Australia, and for the last 15 years I've been working in tourism, regional tourism, and now obviously development of my own product on a river that I grew up on and know very well, and I've always thought this would be a wonderful experience to share with people. So yeah, we're in South Australia, as Leanne introduced, and basically the Murray River itself, whilst it's the largest river within Australia, our walking location departs in Renmark of South Australia. So you fly Adelaide, and then it's about a 3-hour drive to Renmark, and then all walks depart on a Monday morning at 8 a.m. and they conclude on a Thursday afternoon, just after midday, after a beautiful lunch. And the reason we operate between Monday and Thursday is on a big broad river system like ours, that is the most peaceful and most beautiful time to be on the river, because you feel as if you've got it all to yourself. So this walk combines two major elements of moving through the landscape. We walk and we cruise, and that's appropriate given that we're on Australia's largest waterway. This is a river that basically where development was facilitated by the paddle steamer industry back in the 1850s through to the 1920s, and at the peak of this industry there were 200 steamers operating on this river. So it's a big broad river, a very noble river, and today of course it is it's the food bowl of South Australia. It's a large horticultural region as well that grows amazing produce, and we feature that in our walks. So we're going to walk through the landscape as well as cruise through the landscape. The river itself, I said, is the biggest river in Australia. We're 2,000 kilometres from the source and the Australian Alps, and by the time the river reaches us and flows through Murray River Walk, it's a broad meandering delta. It's flat with a few bumps, as you can see in that photograph. There's a beautiful rim on the valley which provides spectacular and vast I guess views of this amazing riverine landscape. How long is the journey? It's 40 kilometres guided walking, and we're walking through some conservation reserves, very, very high conservation value, ancient red gum forests, The critical thing here is it's guided walking, so we can vary the route slightly as we go depending on people's fitness levels, etc. But it's a flat, relatively easy walk. Of course, there's as well as 40 kilometres walking, there's 70 kilometres of cruising, and we do that in a small 12-seater cruiser, which is a wonderful, stable little craft that takes us through some of these beautiful little creeks, where the banks are very close. We're very close to the wildlife, and of course we also do some transfers on the Murray River itself, on the big broad river. It's a lovely way of seeing all the different types of water landscapes in this area. We're going to touch ancient red gum forests, and one of the highlights for the group is when we come across some of these giant red gums, and you know, people get to hug them. We can put you know, 12 people fingers touching, and we still can't wrap ourselves right around this tree. It's quite amazing. So yeah, red gums, it's in the eucalyptus group, and you know, they are amazing old trees, and we see a lot of red gum forest along the way. In this habitat, we've got some fantastic wildlife, and of course the iconic Australian red kangaroo. But if you love your wildlife, there's 179 bird species that have been recorded in this area. 63 species are wetland dependent, so our ducks, our swans, our cormorants, spoonbills, ibis, there's something there for everyone. 19 species of mammals, including 8 bat species, occur in this region, so it's very diverse. That led to the region being listed as a riverland or as a Ramsar wetland, so it's also the entire walk is within a wetland of international importance, and wetlands of international importance typically meet criteria such as very large numbers of water birds, rare and endangered species, and very significant and different types of habitats. As I said, it's a relatively easy walk. It's easy flat terrain. We're going to be walking for most part on a floodplain, but there's a 40-metre bump in there, a couple of them, where we're actually going to ascend onto the top of the rim of the cliffs that you see in the background there, which provides this spectacular view. There are many, many stories that we share with you as guides. It's a lovely way to, you know, have conversations when we can pass on our knowledge of the formation of this landscape, the people who lived in this landscape, the people who settled the landscape, right through to, you know, the different types of birds, the different types of plants. There are 5 million years of soils that we see along the walk derived from when the sea covered this area 5 million years ago, through to sea being, or ocean being replaced with freshwater lakes, and then we had 2 very recent ice ages, 40,000 and 10,000 years ago, which obviously have helped to shape the landforms that we're walking across. And people really love knowing about those sort of things. It's very important to us that we acknowledge the first people of this region, the Erawurrung people. They were Aboriginal people. They obviously lived on this river, and there is evidence of their culture present along the walk. We see canoe trees, large scars on trees where canoes have been made, smaller scars where shields and carrying frames have been made, and we also see shell middens along the way. So it's really important that we acknowledge them, and they were in this region for 40,000 years, and they continue to live in this region today. So this is one of the oldest and most significant civilizations on Earth. So we obviously have lots of stories to tell, but we like to relax too. And at the end of a day's walking, you're welcomed to a campfire on the riverbank with a glass of bubbly, a brew, or there's always, and importantly, a glass of juice or water there. And it's just a lovely way to sit down with your fellow walkers after walking about 14 kilometres a day, and just reflecting before moving inside and meeting your room for the first time. So each day, one of the nice things is that you have your own room on a modern 10-berth houseboat. So the boat, each day while we're walking, the boat moves to our daily destination. We employ a boat guide. So a boat guide looks after everything on the boat, moves the boat, makes sure that everything's ready for us when we arrive at the end of a day's walking. It's a beautiful, comfortable boat. There's lovely social spaces, large lounge area where 10 people can comfortably sit around and chat if they wish, or you've got the privacy of your own room, or you can spend more time on the riverbank or upstairs. I say upstairs because on the top deck there is a beautiful hot spa, so you can spend the final hours or final minutes of daylight up there watching the light fade on the river and the beautiful colour that goes with that. Of course, we say it's luxury because, you know, here's a 14-kilometre walk in our cooler weather, and you're rewarded with also a hot shower when you get to that boat, and of course a room with $1 million view. We then take care of all of your other needs, including food. So we do 3 courses of carefully selected local foods. As I mentioned, we're a food bowl, so we've selected the best foods from this region. Some lovely fish. We do a lovely, if you like, a chowder with one of our local fish in the river. We do a yabby bisque. The bisque is it's made from a small crustacean known as the yabby, or a very small lobster or crayfish that you might know. And of course, the food is paired with local award-winning wines. So, and we're really proud of our produce, and it's a lovely way for us to be able to select the best of that produce and package it up. We have a food consultant who's done amazing things around the world with food, and so he's worked with our guides, including myself, to help us, prepare wonderful, flavoursome and special meals for our walkers. Just quickly, each day on the walk we do a quick briefing on the route that we're going to take that day. We talk about the country that we're going to be walking through, and in particular we talk about our destination, where we're headed, and the significance of that destination. So, we break the walk up into the 4 days. We talk about a little bit about the cruising, a little bit about the walking, and of course there's always, from the guide's perspective, we always make sure that we cover the safety elements that are important to keep our walkers obviously safe, comfortable and relaxed. On day 2 we do a spectacular sunrise walk. So a little bit like me this morning, I was up before the sun, and we assemble for a small transfer to the base of a lovely cliff section along the river. We climb the cliff along a very gentle ascent to a platform, and where we stand and we watch the sunrise, and we have a lovely cup of tea up there, or a cup of coffee, and a biscuit, and it's quite a spiritual time watching the sunrise. People are generally quiet and reflective. It's early in the day, but it's a very, very special time, and people reflect on that in their testimonials. We then move back to the houseboat after sunrise. We have a cooked breakfast or a continental breakfast. There are 2 options there, and then we start our day walking, our full day walking again, while the houseboat moves to our new destination. Now, day 3 destination is Queensbend Cliffs. It's a spectacular section of the river, and when you see the beautiful blue skies and the red-orange soils in this region, it makes for wonderful photography. But Queensbend Cliffs has been chosen because we sleep on the boat opposite those cliffs, and so you've got wonderful views both in the afternoon and in the evening. Day 3, we complete 40 kilometres of walking, and we have a little celebration with each other. By now we've got a group of 10 walkers and 2 guides plus a boat guide that have gotten to know each other, and we've shared stories with each other. We've gotten to know each other a little better, and it's a nice way of saying, hey, you know, haven't we done well? We've just walked 40 kilometres in 3 days, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself. You know, remembering that our target demographic here are typically 50 years old to 70 years old. So these are people who all appreciate knowing that they can complete a journey like this. On day 4, which is our final day, we do some cruising in the morning. There's no walking on this day. We do some cruising to see some lovely scenery and to talk about some of our history. And then we rejoin the houseboat and we cruise on down to Wilkadine Woolshed Brewery. It's a wonderful little microbrewery that's been, if you like, developed within an old shearing shed. The brewery's been so successful, it's expanded into a modern shed like this, and the brewer take our group on a tour and a tasting before the guides prepare a wonderful mixed grill lunch or salad with salad options, and we reflect a little on the trip before we then depart to our starting location back in Renmark. So yeah, it's a wonderful experience. With our walking season, typical of the Great Walks of Australia, all have quite specific seasons to capture the best weather. So for us it's April to October when we have cool to mild winter. So we're going through, I guess, what is our fall or autumn through winter and then into early spring. In our region it's a relatively warm, dry region. It doesn't snow, so you know, it's a lovely mild weathered walk. As I said, it's guided. There are 3 guides per 10 walkers. We will walk for a minimum of 4 people and a maximum of 10, and we also cater for exclusive groups up to 8 people. So groups less than 8 who want the boat exclusively pay the fare of 8 people, and obviously 9 and 10 people pay for 9 and 10 people. Price $2,300 Australian dollars per person, twin share. We have a single person supplement if a single walker requests their very own room, so that supplement is 70% on top of the per person fare that you see there. You can see our web details, murrayriverwalk.com.au, and I can be contacted, obviously, tony@murrayriverwalk.com.au. Yeah, I welcome any inquiries, welcome any contact, and I'll just finish with this slide. I've lived in this region for a long time. I grew up here. I lived away for years too. But just when you think you know it all, you realise that you never do. This is a group of emus. This is Australia's largest bird. It's typically, it's a big bird. It's flightless and it walks everywhere. It can run very fast. And one day when we were returning on the cruiser along the Murray, all of a sudden I thought I was looking at some big ducks, and it turned out that there were 4 emus swimming the river, which is quite unique, quite spectacular. But there's always something that happens that surprises you. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony. That was so wonderful. It was really just a fantastic overview of the product, and it's just exciting to hear more about the fascinating Murray River region. So let's see. We do have a couple of questions here for you. How much walking is it per day in terms of time? So how many hours per day are you actually walking?
Yeah, so we typically, departures in the morning, we leave between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. and we're typically arriving at our destination at around 3:30 to 4 p.m. So we have breaks, scheduled breaks. So we have a morning tea break, we have a lunch break, and we have an afternoon tea break. So typically the 2 tea breaks, we'll stop, have a drink, a nibble, remembering that you've got a carry pack with you, so that you've got up to 2 litres of water in your carry pack, or more if you wish, and you've got your lunch with you which you've made in the morning on the houseboat. But in terms of, to break that down, probably when you look at total breaks, probably looking at between an hour and an hour and a half, and total walking time between 4 and 5 hours excuse me, walking, and average distances range between 14 and 12 kilometres per day.
Great. One guest here noticed that in the pictures, a lot of people were wearing sweaters or jumpers or jackets. So what is the average temperature during the period of time that you guys are
it's a great question. I've got a walk leaving on Monday here. So for the 4 days, the average daily maximum is about 22 degrees Celsius. Is Celsius okay for you?
Let me see if I can transfer. That's 71 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yep, okay, and daily minimums, 9 to 10 degrees Celsius. So that's the warmer range of temperatures, and they typically occur in May and September. But in, which is through the winter period, we're probably looking at daily minimums, which is typically early in the morning. So daily minimums 2-3 degrees Celsius, and daily maximums around 14 to 15 degrees Celsius.
Great. So 15 degrees Celsius is 59 degrees Fahrenheit for those of you unfamiliar with that.
So we sort of say that's cool to mild.
Great. So you do recommend bringing, some warmer clothes.
Most definitely. We always recommend 3 layers are essential. So a base layer or a thermal layer, wear then a poly shirt, something like that, and then a fleece over the top. So you've always got those 3 layers, and of course we always recommend bringing a rain jacket. And the rain jacket's good, obviously, if it does rain, but it's also really good for protecting you from the wind when we're cruising. And then, of course, we recommend having a woolen hat. We call them beanies, a beanie or gloves and scarves. So all of that information is on our website.
Great. Another question here. At the end of the journey, how do you get back to Renmark? Do you cruise back, or is it a bus from the final point?
Yeah, this is it's a bus transfer. So from the brewery, you will be transferred back to Renmark, which is about a 20-minute ride, and we have you arriving back in Renmark at about 2 p.m. in the afternoon, which gives you plenty of time if you need to travel back to Adelaide, or if you're travelling on to another destination, so that you've got a good chance of getting there in daylight, or you may actually be staying on in the region so that you've got time to check in daylight and familiarise yourself with the surrounds. Remembering that in the morning on day 4, the final day, you will have spent about 38 kilometres cruising, and so we finish at 1:30 at the brewery and deliver you at 2 by bus into Renmark.
Great. And then can you accommodate food allergies? So if someone is allergic to seafood, are you able to make alternative meals for them?
Yes, we do. We have a local chef. So when we ask all of our guests well before they arrive if they have any special dietary requirements or if they have any food allergies. If they report food allergies, what we will typically do is phone them or contact them by email just to fully understand those allergies. And then what we do is we pass that information on to our chef, whether it's one person, 4 people, or the whole group, and our chef will create a special 1-portion meal for those people who have a special dietary requirement or a food allergy.
That's great. Another question here. Are there any bathroom facilities during the walk or during the breaks?
Sorry, are there any?
Bathroom, toilets?
No, there are not. So we are in a relatively remote area. So it's really, really important that people use the bathrooms before we depart, and obviously when obviously we arrive in the afternoon. But there are obviously moments along that walk where whether you're a woman or a man, there's a need for a comfort. We call them a comfort stop, and typically the guides will just ask people to let them know if they do want a comfort break, where they'll disappear off into the bushes and be quite discreet. And the guides will carry a trowel or a very small shovel. We carry paper, and we carry some sanitary wipes as well for people. And so that tends to work very well.
Great. Do you provide backpacks for everyone, or do clients need to bring their own?
We provide backpacks for everyone. So everyone receives a 34-litre pack. These are very, very comfortable packs. We fit those packs to you when you arrive on your first morning. We show you how to fit your bladders, or how to fit a bladder into a pack so you can refill it each day. And we also provide a walking pole, so like a ski pole, and some people take up that option, other people don't need it. But so yeah, we look after all your basic walking needs in that sense, but you obviously need to have your own footwear and the right footwear sock combination. And we also stress that to people before they come. Make sure you're comfortable in your shoes. Don't think you can wear a pair of shoes in, because there's nothing worse than having blisters on a walk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. All right, well, we have a couple other questions here, but I think they might be better suited for you to just follow up directly with the individual, so I'll share those with you.
Okay.
And, we appreciate everyone's time today. Thank you so much for supporting South Australia and the Murray River Walk. As I mentioned, this webinar is recorded, so we will get that up on our YouTube page, and we'll be sure to share the link for those of you that have requested it, so you can revisit it later and get a refresher on everything that Tony covered today. So that being said, we hope everyone has a lovely afternoon, and thank you again, Tony, for all of this exciting information.
Yeah, my pleasure, and thank you for joining me for the presentation, and yeah, it's been lovely sharing it with you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Bye now.
Okay, bye.